All right, in today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to make a leaderboard inside of Roblox Studios. Now, this is going to be leaderboard, server stat, whatever you want to call it. And then in the next episode, we're actually going to make global leaderboards, which we will also once again cover. So firstly, let's just go ahead and hop right into Roblox Studios. So obviously, when you play Roblox games and you press tab, right, it's very common to see some form of a player stat. So today we're building exactly that. We're going to be building specifically the leader stats that you will see inside of your own server. And we'll be utilizing a bunch of free stuff, assets and things we can get from the toolbox just over here in order to get these. Now, I will have all of the code used in this video linked in the description on my website. Alongside that, we will also have the links to these two assets if you want to go ahead and save them and use them because they're pretty nice. They have built-in animations and all that for the top leaderboard users. So first things first, we're going to go ahead and go into replicated storage. So we're going to be building the leaderboard configuration. This will be a module script. So you go ahead and click plus or whatever you want to do. And then we're going to click that. And then you can go ahead and add a module script. Now, luckily for us, when it comes to making these functions, Roblox already has tools in place for this. So this module script is going to literally be like 5 lines essentially. So we're going to do local leaderboard config, empty bracket, and go down. We're going to do leaderboard configuration dot cache per click is equal to 10. We're going to do leaderboard config dot playtime tick seconds equals to 60. Leaderboard configuration playtime per tick or anything like that, and then return leaderboard. So essentially what we're doing is we are making a configuration that will give this as leader stats. So we're making essentially 2. We're going to have a leaderboard configuration for playtime and cache, and then we're going to store that inside of the game leaderboard whenever it's ran. So we're going to have that. Obviously for this one, we named it module script, and I made sure obviously for the code I put all of these. I spent time writing all of these comments just so you can view it. Now, obviously, most of this is also for the second one when it comes to the leaderboard's data servers, but this is all we need for now is these 5 lines right here. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're next going to go ahead and add the Leaderstat script. So when a player joins, we can do 3 things. So firstly, whenever you join into a game, there are a few things we can do. So also we had a bit of like saving data. So it'll actually save this data to the server. So we go ahead and click that some. These will update in a bit. So when the user first joins, essentially the easiest thing is none of this requires UI or anything. That's my favorite part. But so obviously we're going to have let's go ahead and jump right out of this. So we're going to have replicated storage, and then we're also going to have server script service. So this will be where we have all this crap. So in server script service, we're going to go ahead and create 2 things. So we're going to create for, my personal thing, we're going to create the server stats folder, and we're going to have data service, Leaderstat service, and cache button service. Now, you can rename these whatever you want. For example, cache, you can name that to something else. And then in your script, you can have a different way to obtain cache rather than clicking a button. But obviously for this, I'm going to use that. So I'm going to go ahead and make a normal script inside of server stats after I make my own folder. So essentially this is going to be the way you click the button. And so in the in world, obviously we have the glowing part you can click. So firstly, we're going to access replicated storage by writing local replicated storage will be equal to exactly that, game get service replicated storage. Then we're going to do local configuration will be equal require, and then this replicated storage wait for a child. And we're going to do another one. Then we're going to do this John right here. And then we're going to do leaderboard configuration, close that out, and then obviously double bracket since we're closing that out. Now we're going to go back. So this will be our shared settings. So this, we only will be getting like cache per clicks. Now the next thing we're going to be doing is finding the button in the world. So wait for a child will pause until the brick exists. So if it doesn't, it doesn't matter whether the script or the brick loads first. This is just more my own preference stuff. If you also have any comments, you can leave those in the description. I'll hopefully answer as many as I can. But the next thing is going to be local cache buttons. Once again, I'm just making my own stuff. It'll be workspace, wait for child, that, and then I spelled local wrong. That is completely my bad. The next thing is going to be local click detector will be equal to cache, not like that. Whoa, cache button, wait for child. Then we're going to do click detector, boom, just like that. So now what we're going to do is the mouse click fire. So whenever, a player clicks the brick, Roblox hands us the player who clicked it at the first argument for free. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the click detector dot mouse click, and then we're going to mark this connect a function, which will be the player who clicked. We're going to close this John out, and we're going to expand this. So we're going to go right here. We're going to go in. So we have indentation. So next we're going to find the player's leader stats folder. So we're going to be storing this once again in the server side so that we can store their leader stats. Then we're going to do local leader stats will be equal to player who clicked. And then we're going to find first child leader stats just like that. And then we're going to go back down. And then if not capitalized, if not leader stats, then return, or not then return, and just like that, already hit the line for us. So then next we're going to do is the pop this John out, and then local cache will be equal to, not to space, equal to Leaderstats, which obviously we're going to find first child, cache, and then if not cache, then return int. And then at the very end, we're going to do cache plus, not that, cache plus value plus equals configuration cache per click. So spelled Leaderstats wrong. That is my bad. Player who clicked. Typing way too fast and I'm sneezing like crazy. So that is my bad. So now that we've done that, the next thing we're going to go ahead into doing is adding the next one, which will be the Leaderstat Service. So also, once again, we're naming all of these folders and I'm just making the new ones as, the primary examples. So I'm going to go ahead and delete the one we already made. And now the next one we're going to do is the cache button service. So I'm going to go ahead and add, not the cache button, the Leaderstat Service. So I'm going to go ahead and add another script. So we're going to be creating the Leaderstat Service. So now the Leaderstat Service, so this is like the whole tab leaderboard. So whenever you press tab in any Roblox game, you'll see the panel with your name and some stats next to it. This is put there. And obviously a Leaderstat is just a value object inside of a folder named Leaderstats that lives inside of the player. So Roblox is constantly watching for every player for a folder called exactly Leaderstats, as I was referencing earlier. All of these functions already do exist. So we don't actually need to create like custom UI and all of that. It already does exist. Now you can customize the UI that, or you can do that. A lot of games use stuff like that, but we're going to go ahead and like access it to tell Roblox that it should use the Leaderstats. So what we're going to start off by doing a local players will be equal to game get service. And then we're going to do players. So we'll be defining obviously the get service to players. And then we're going to do local replicated storage. So get service replicated storage. So now we're going to be accessing the Leaderstat configuration we made earlier, or the Leaderboard configuration. Then we're going to do a local configuration, which will be equal to require. And then we're going to do obviously replicated storage, and then wait for a child to go ahead and just autofill the rest of this, which will then be leaderboard configuration. So now what we're doing is next we're going to do like the raw minute count. So obviously we're doing like the player time count. So we're having two leaderboard stats. We're having the money amount and then the actual amount that the user will have cash wise. So obviously you can change these. So what we're going to do is create the total time as a leaderboard. So we're going to now do a local function, which will be format playtime into total minutes. And then we're going to go down. We're going to do local minutes in a day. Obviously, this is equal to, we're going to do this 60 times 24. And then we're going to do local days equals to math plus, or math dot floor, and then total minutes divided by total minutes in a day. And then obviously autofill's hinting out what we're going to do. I lovely didn't type local correctly. Next thing we're going to do is we're also going to go back down, just like this John right here. And we're going to do local hours equals math dot math, not that, floor, which will be again this. And then obviously then local minutes will be equal to math dot floor, total minutes divided or percent 60. And then we're going to return this as a string format into the percent days and then the percent just like this. So the days and all of that, which represents days, hours, and minutes. So the next thing we're also going to do is when the player joins. So it must, like the file you make must be called Leaderstats inside of the system. So what we're going to do is we're next going to go ahead and we're going to create, this stuff. So this is using Roblox's built-in tools. So we're going to have to call it Leaderstats in order for it to work. So we're going to make another local function. We're going to call this on layer added. And then obviously we're going to make this player. And then we're going to go down to here. And then we're going to do local Leaderstats will be equal to instance.new player or new folder. And then Leaderstats.name will be equal to that Leaderstats. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to come on down. Now we're going to do Leaderstats.parent will be equal to player. And then after that, we're going to add in the new int value, which will be cache. So local cache will be equal to instance.new.int value. And that cache will be named cache, just like that. The starting value of cache will be equal to 0. And the parent folder will be Leaderstats. So it will create a folder for the new player that joins, which will be, it will register to them the Leaderstat of cache. They will start at 0. Now, the next thing we're going to do is the local time played. So this will be the other one. So we're going to do local time, that's how you spell time played equal to instance.new. And then once again, we're going to do, instead of an int value, we're actually going to do a string value, not value. And then we're going to go on down and we're going to do time played will be equal to name will be equal to time. Once again, this will be their thing. And then we're going to do time played value will be equal to format Playtime. So essentially what we're doing now is we're determining the leader stat, what it'll look like. And then we're also figuring out how to store this value. So we're going to store it as starting out at 0. Then we're going to go down one more time, and then we're going to do time played dot parent, which once again, we're assigning the parent folder, parent, not parents, will be to the leader stats folder. So now it will also create the leader stats just like here. It will assign to a new user. Once a new user has joined, it'll assign them a folder. It'll name that leader stats, which this will automatically register the leader stat tab button to user, and it will register them a leader stat called cache and a leader stat called time, and both will be set to the default of 0. Now we're almost done. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to come on down. We're going to add some if while statements. So we're going to come on down just a bit more. We're going to do task.spawn, and we're going to add a function. We're going to open bracket this because we're actually going to do two things. So next is going to be while the player dot parent is about or equal to nil, do, and then we're going to do task dot, I should have gone down to, and we're going to do enter. So we actually hook down. What we're going to do is we're going to add the instance they leave. So instead of like resetting, we're going to add this loops cleanly. It like stops after the user leaves. So we're going to do the task.wait, then we're going to add the configuration and then the playtime and then tick seconds. And then we're going to close bracket that. We're going to go down. So this will be paused for 1 tick. And then if they left during the wait, what we're going to do is we're going to do an if the player dot parent is equal to nil, then break the loop. Then we're going to go down 1 section. Then we're going to do the read the current minutes and add its tick worth to store it. So then we're going to do local new minutes. This will be equal to player and then get attribute and then time. We're going to obviously, so this autofill is not really what we want. We're going to do essentially the play time minutes, which will be this plus config dot playtime per tick. We're going to go down player set attributes, which will be the playtime minutes. And then we're not going to leave it, but we're going to do a comma and then new minutes just like that. And we're going to go down and then time played will be equal to format new minutes. Now, for the most part, I definitely spelled config wrong here. So what we're going to do now is this will read the current minutes and then repaint the pretty tab next to the new order. So now what we're going to do is wire it up. So run on player added every time someone joins from now on. So what we're going to do is we're going to come out of this in bracket. We're actually going to just clear that just for formatting. We're going to go down. And then what we're going to add is we're going to obviously wire it up. So we're going to do players dot player added. And then what we're going to do is we're going to connect this to on player added. And we're going to go down. And then once again, we're going to do a for player is in. So player in players, get players. We're going to do this and then do. So we're telling it on player, do on player added player. So essentially what we're doing is for anyone who's already in the game before this script ran in Studio, obviously this worked just like that. So next, what we're going to do for the most part is this is more of the finalization, but we're going to go ahead. I'm just going to clear this out. We're going to go in and test this. So if done properly, once again, if you want to copy the code, whatever, we now should have a working click button. You can click right here and your leader stat. So as you see, we have the cache, the time registered, my username, and this entire beautiful leaderboard right there. Now, obviously, if you do have any questions, run into issues, whatever, make sure to comment those down below. And if you also want, again, check out the code is on my website, linked in the description. But that is going to be it for this video. If you want a more in-detailed guide, make sure to leave a like and subscribe and comment.